Welcome to the Guided Expressions podcast with Martin Williams, the place to learn and be inspired to live your best life. Here is your host, Martin Williams.
Hello, everyone. My name is Martin Williams, and thank you for tuning in to the Guided Expressions podcast. Don't forget to subscribe to the podcast. You may do so at Apple Podcast, YouTube, Spotify, and SoundCloud. All the links to the podcast can be found at guidedexpressions.com/podcast. Today, what I wanted to talk to you about is overcoming the feeling of, I don't feel like doing this. It's a bit of a long title, but it'll make sense in a little bit. We all get to a place where we don't feel like doing much of anything. We don't feel like being productive. We don't feel like doing the things that we know we need to do. We don't feel like working out. We don't feel like eating right. We don't feel like doing what we have to do to grow our business, doing what we have to do to get better at our job. It's natural to get to a place where you don't feel like always doing what needs to be done. But we all know that self-discipline is the ability to get yourself to do that which needs to be done, whether you feel like it or not. It sounds good, but how do we get ourselves to the place where we can do those things without too much of a struggle? Well, everything begins with mindset. I certainly believe that, and I believe that every part of our lives benefits from a mindset shift in one way or another. So if you think of something that you need to do, let's say you need to cold call or cold email for your business, or perhaps you need to finish a particular program that you're selling. Perhaps you need to finish a course, or perhaps you need to work on content and post it to social media to drive more and more attention to your website. Whatever the case may be, maybe you need to go to the gym and you haven't been able to because we're in a pandemic. So maybe you can't go to the gym, but you still need to work out. Or, maybe you need to augment your eating and not eat so much junk food and eat more whole foods in order to have the health that you want and need in this life. How do you do that? How do you get yourself to a place where you're doing those things that you need to do? Well, the first thing to do is to not look at it as something I need to do, because we have a way of looking at the things that we need to do as almost like punishment, right? Remember when you were a kid and your mom or dad told you to clean up your room or pick up the socks off the floor? Perhaps they told you to clean up a part of the house or take out the trash or, things of that nature. And, when you were told those things, you didn't feel like doing it. You didn't want to do it, but it had to be done. It's part of keeping the house in a clean state, keeping the house in a comfortable state. But it didn't mean that it was necessarily something you wanted to do. You just did it because mom and dad told you to do it, and you didn't want to, basically risk getting on their bad side. Whether that meant anything from being on restriction or punishment, or unfortunately, some cases even worse. But now we're adults. We don't have our parents to tell us what to do. We don't have our parents to tell us what we need to do in order to stay in line or what have you. We are, the captains of our own ship now. Our home is our home, and no one's going to tell you to take out the trash, but we do it anyway, right? We take out our trash. We keep our rooms clean. We do some of the things that we need to do, most of the things that we need to do, because of a habit, right? So part of putting yourself in a position where you do those things that you need to do on a consistent basis is getting into a habit, right? And certainly for me, working out has become a habit in my life. It wasn't always that way. There was a time when working out was a chore for me. There was a time when working out was not fun. I could have listed 100 things that I'd rather do than work out. But eventually I got to the place where I worked out on a consistent basis, and I'm at that place now where I pretty much get up and I work out no matter where I am in the world. It may be a gym, it may be a track, it may be a lake, but wherever I am, if there's any way possible for me to work out, that's what I'm going to do, because that habit has been ingrained in me over the course of years. But what do you do when necessarily you don't necessarily want to wait years to build the habit? I mean, you should certainly try to build the habit, but that course needs to be completed soon, right? So we can start bringing in some money for you. That content needs to be uploaded so it can bring more attention to whatever it is that you're doing and selling. So, this is not a 2-year process. Certainly it can be, but we want to get things done a lot quicker than that. And, there's a part of coaching that says, just do it, just jump out and just do it, just pull the Band-Aid off and just do it. And there's value in that. I think that there's certain things that we do need to just get up and do, but more so what I'm talking about here, what is a kind of a go-to process to get you to do the things that you need to do on a consistent basis, and doing them without a whole lot of resistance, without a whole lot of pain, without a whole lot of hooing and hawing, for the lack of a better word. Just kind of easing yourself into doing those things that that you need to do. How do you get there? Well, there are a lot of things that we do because we want to do them, right? But why do we want to do them? Let's say there's a game that you like on your phone and you play it quite a bit, probably a little more than you should, if we're being honest, right? But you play this game and no one has to tell you to do it, and you don't have to hype yourself up to do it. You just do it. Why do you just do it? With a lot of games, there's a challenge in it, right? And that challenge is always, you're usually playing against a computer, and that computer is trying to stop you from winning the game. But once you win the game, whether you win or lose the game, you turn the game off and you move on to something else. Why not look at your goals like that? Why not look at your tasks like that? Instead of making everything all or nothing, why not just take one of your tasks and say, okay, I'm just going to do it, but not doing it in a forceful kind of way, like, you're forcing yourself. It's like you're dragging your body, in order to do this thing. But you're doing it because you want to. You're doing it because, there is something in you that really wants to see this happen, to see this come through. You want to see the end result of this activity, right? So let's take content, for instance, right? A lot of people don't want to do content because they may not have a lot of followers on social media, because they're just starting out. So their followership really isn't that high. They may only have, like, say 50 or 100 followers. And, there's something in your mind that says, well, no one's going to read it anyway, so who cares, right? That's totally the wrong attitude. The attitude that you want to have is, I'm going to go on social media. I'm going to do this content, and, it's going to be fun because I'm going to make it fun. And if you look at it as something that's fun and you just leave it there, like, it's not, whether you complete the content or not, it's really not a life or death situation. It's not. You're not going to, have less of a life because you did one blog instead of 5, or you did 3 podcasts instead of 6, or what have you. none of that really matters in the grand scheme of things. But if you do it with a sense of ease and with a sense of lightness and a sense of, just having fun with it, two things will happen. You'll do it more often and you'll get better at it because the pressure's off. You're taking the pressure off of yourself and you're not making it this big thing. You're not making it this do or die thing. I don't think that that's really conducive to high performance. I think high performance is more so showing up every day, but showing up to have fun, showing up to enjoy the process, to have fun in the midst of doing it. And here's the thing, when you approach it with that attitude, like I said, you'll do it more often, you'll do it better, and the enjoyment that you pour into it will be enjoyed by the people who consume it. You can tell when people have fun doing certain things. You can tell, you can tell when a chef enjoys his or her cooking. You can tell when a comedian enjoys writing jokes. You can tell when a singer enjoys singing because there's a permeable joy that they transfer from themselves to whoever's listening. And it goes far beyond their skill or their training. And really it's just all about having fun. It's all about enjoyment. It's all about being a part of their process. It's almost as if you were in the studio with them. You were sitting next to that comedian writing that joke. You were in the kitchen with that chef. That's when you know a person truly loves what they do. And so when you approach your work like that, whatever it is that you're trying to do, whether you're trying to write that course or finish writing that book or finish, doing that podcast or whatever the case may be, have fun with it. Enjoy it. It's not the end of the world. If no one listens to it, it's not the end of the world. If no one reads it, it's not the end of the world. Just do it for yourself. Do it to have fun. Do it to enjoy the process, the fact that you get to do it. There are a lot of people around the world who can't make a podcast because they don't have a computer or they don't have a phone or they don't have internet. There are a lot of people around the world who can't write a blog because of those same reasons, right? But you get to, okay? And I'm assuming that most people listening to this have the opportunity to make their own blog or to make their own podcast or to create a course. But whatever it is you're trying to create, I don't care if it's a blanket, have fun with it. Don't be so worried about how people receive it, but just pour out that joy, get that joy bubbling inside of you and then pour it out in whatever you do and have fun. And as you do that, you will reach more and more people because of that little shift in attitude, and you'll get more done. And you won't be so under pressure all the time, putting pressure on yourself, undue pressure. And in the grand scheme of things, like I said, you'll get more done, you'll be more productive, and you'll probably get to wherever it is you want to go, whether it's financially, whether it's professionally. You'll get there when you start having more fun with it. So I want to thank you for listening to this podcast. My name is Martin Williams. Don't forget to subscribe to the podcast, like, comment, share, and I will talk to you soon.
Don't forget to subscribe to the Guided Expressions podcast on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, or Spotify to get all the latest content from Guided Expressions. No one builds a house without a blueprint, so why are you trying to build your dream life without one? That's how the Blueprint course was created. The Blueprint course is for people who know they were meant for more. Created by Martin Williams, the Blueprint is a streamlined way to help you create the life you've always wanted. Get instant access now by clicking the link in the description box or going to guidedexpressions.com/blueprint.